What up? What up? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Viahos. You can call me Sleuth if you'd like. Today we will be discussing the Abby and Libby case. A lot of information kind of circulating right now, a lot of virtue signaling. We're not going to talk about the hypocrisy of other creators or podcasters. We're just going to go over the information. If anybody wants to call in and talk to me directly for a couple minutes, let me know. I'll post a link or I'll activate my business line. All right. What's up, Brad? Outside of the grid. Great channel. Back to members. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Purdue, how are you? CJK. Jill, what's up? Redfoot, how are you? True Crime Housewife. Hello, hello. Doris, good morning. Welcome. Good to see you. How's it going, Lisa? How are you, Frank? Freckled. All right. Good to see everybody. Celis. True Crime and Other Stuff. Devoted to Mariah. Bird Brain. Mike. See if I'm missing anybody. Stephanie. Jerry. Anna. Jody, happy Sunday. Shane, my guy, what's up? Good to see you, Mike. Phil, what's up, Phil? How are you? And Sensei Wackadoodle. Beth, almost missed you. All right, guys. So once again, the Delphi case has gotten even more strange. From the shenanigans of, well, I guess we can start with the prosecution over the length of the investigation, the new defense team for Richard Allen, those shenanigans, the leaking of important case information, crime scene photos. And now I guess we have somebody who, I guess, committed suicide. Now, who's to say this person did that because of the exchange of sensitive case information? I mean, I'm sure it played a part. But I don't buy the story. Oh, he's a great guy or this and that. I don't know. But just because somebody commits this type of offense and you want to protect their family, first of all, that doesn't make him a nice guy. You just sound guilty too, because there's obviously something more going on and you don't want to, put any shame on his name, especially with something like this going on. And I get that. But I just hope that all of these content creators know how obviously ridiculous they look when they're virtue signaling and look at me, look how good I am, and look how great of a person I am. The truth is, your actions speak for themselves, right? What have you done? Not what have you said. Hey, what is up, Donna? Thanks, Donna. Thank you, Lisa. I would flex, but I probably got sweaty armpits. I actually just went for a walk and just doing a couple curls. But I'm sure I got the sweaty pits. I wanted to shower before I went live, but I didn't realize what time it was. Stephanie says, who leaked the photos? I'm not sure who leaked the photos, but we know who sent them to the murder sheet, which is apparently this guy who, no, I'm not sure how he did it, but he is no longer living, and it was at his own hands. And apparently he was one of the people who were passing along this information. I don't know if there was some shame involved. The dude was military. He served, I think, a couple tours in Iraq. So, I mean, either way, he's a hero. Either way you look at it. He could have been suffering from something relating to that. which a lot of veterans do, right? And they don't get the help that they really need. This could have just been something that put them over the top. And a lot of you weird trolls out there could have had something to do with that. You guys, I really wouldn't doubt it if you could hit a button to have somebody executed. I wouldn't doubt it that some of you trolls and some of you weird people out there wouldn't couldn't resist hitting that button. You guys are seriously out of your mind. The way you get all worked up and convince yourself that people need to be punished, that just shows how crazy you are. And it's on full display. What's up, Anna? So yeah, a lot going on with the Abby and Libby case, and everybody seems to forget. Um, they talk a lot about the family, this and that. Oh, reopening wounds. Do you really think that that type of a wound is ever going to close? People need to focus on the fact that Abby and Libby were murdered. That's it. Everything else comes from that. All of this circus, all of this craziness, all of this hatred and negativity spreading, it all comes from that one act. Everything else is just a byproduct of a double homicide that happened to two kids. That is what we need to focus on. How did that happen? Everything else that stems from that is all part of that. You're not going to heal that kind of a wound. Like, do you even hear yourself? Oh, I'm not going to share, and I'm not going to share the guy's name, but when people come out and say that, like, oh, I'm not going to share this guy's name because it's going to open wounds, like you give a shit about anything. You never have. You're a hypocrite. And that's it for the morning rant. But we'll go ahead and pull up this guy's obituary. Family and everything's been removed. I just basically copied it over to a Word document. Well, I guess I could share that with you guys. All right, initials are RF, and I'm not sure what SMGT means. I'm sure it's military, something to do with sergeant or something along those lines. Major. Not sure. I wasn't really a military person. 41 years of age, of Fishers, passed away on Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. He was born on October 1981 in Kokomo, Indiana. RF proudly served in the United States Air Force National Guard for the last 23 years and was deployed 4 times to the Middle East. So no matter what you say about this man, he's a hero. He was part of the ammo division, and their motto is IYAAYAS. Had to look that up. It means if you ain't ammo, you ain't shit. RF was a 2000 graduate of Kokomo High School and a 2005 graduate of Indiana University. In college, he was an IU football team manager and was a big fan of Bobby Knight and the IU basketball. RF was a coach for his daughter's basketball team, and he enjoyed going to Disneyland. He was an avid basketball fan of all teams, especially the Kokomo Wildcats and the Hoosiers. And that's pretty much it. So nothing could surprise me with this case. The way it's affecting lives, the way it continues to affect people in general, I've never seen anything like it. And they haven't even begun the court proceedings, right? Well, they haven't begun the trial. And they plan to put cameras in that courtroom and allow the defense to kind of play these games. They don't care about Richard Allen. For all I know, he's been trying to confess this entire time, but that's not going to benefit them. You know, they need a book deal. They need to get all the publicity that they can. And I don't blame them for that, guys. I really don't. I really don't. But it's up to us to see things for what they really are, right? The only thing we can control is ourselves and our personal view on the world. Jamie says, yeah, the virtue signaling is real. Yeah, it's like I try to listen and it's like, oh, the family and this guy was a good person and we would never do this and that, even though last year we did this, and that and didn't give a fuck. Man, this look, you can call me whatever you want, but I'm not a hypocrite, right? That's one thing I'll be taking to my grave. Hey, what's up, Teresa? Welcome. Redfoot says they come off as attention seeking tools. Yeah. Well, what it is, it's when somebody has news and they're sharing the news, or they found something and they're sharing it with everybody, right? Their voice becomes louder. Um, so when your voice becomes louder and they have nothing to share, they kind of get pushed to the side. When those type of people can't handle it, then they have to criticize everybody else who's kind of making noise, right? Because the attention is not on them. But that's why here on my channel, it doesn't matter. We're going to stay focused. We're going to go through the ups and we're going to go through the downs, and we're going to do it. I guess sleuth intuition style. We try to stay objective. We do a lot of that devil's advocate, try to look at both sides. And another thing is, like with the whole Patrick Westfall situation, everybody wanted to paint their own picture. I'm not saying the guy's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. That's not why we had him on, right? We had him on because uh, he's basically being sentenced as a murderer via social media. So right there, he's already made the news. If he wants to talk with me, you better damn sure believe I'm going to listen to what this man says. He's all over the internet. This dude is no joke. He has a past. So I'm going to listen to what he says. And for all of you out there who would beg to get into this man's head, and then once he comes on my channel, you tell me shame on me, when you would do anything to hear what he has to say. But then again, you don't want the public to hear what he has to say because it doesn't go with your little theories and your narrative and putting him in a position as a killer, this and that. And I'm not saying he's innocent at all. But the thing is, I'm going to hear both sides. And I could care less about what some YouTuber and their crazy conspiracy theories have to say about it. I'm going to go to the source. And sometimes when you go to the source, that ruins all of their little theories, right? Oh, well, you just proved my last 6 videos wrong by having some guy on the channel. You try to build him up as this big boogeyman, but when in reality, yeah, he could be a dangerous guy. Yeah, he could be this and that. But if he's not responsible for the murder of Abby and Libby, that's all that matters right now. The other things are important too, but those are different cases, right? If they exist. If it has nothing to do with this case, the Delphi case, why are you wasting your time persecuting this person when you should be focusing your attention on whoever might be actually responsible? Now, if you believe this person is responsible, well, let's use a little bit of facts, some common sense. I think that's a good place to start. Devoted to Mariah says, who unalived themselves? The initials are RF, a man from Kokomo. He was part of the United States Air Force National Guard, I believe. I believe there's a big difference as well between the Army National Guard and the Air Force National Guard. Before you guys start coming up with conspiracy theories connecting Richard Allen and this guy, like just look at it first, and it's okay to talk about it and ask questions of people who might know more than you, but you can't just jump on things and be like, oh my God, the National Guard, it's a conspiracy. I just don't see any restraint Everybody's outraged. I'm so outraged, look how good I am and how bad they are. It's like, just stop with all that shit. It makes me cringe. It's very cringy. Yeah, you'll never hear me come on here and say, "Oh, I'm some smart guy. I know what I'm talking about. This is my theory." No, we're just going to talk. We're obviously all interested in what the hell is going on with this case, mostly because we all have children of our own. Yeah, see, Les, you had a daughter, you had a family, and it is a little bit sickening to think that um, kind of sending this information, like crime scene photos and things like that should never be released to the public. I mean, it could cause some shame, but when I see people out there trying to tell people how good they are and kind of playing damage control, it really makes them look guilty. They're kind of projecting what was really going on behind the scenes, and usually it's the opposite of what they're trying to convince us of. So I don't know if they know how obvious they're being. That was just a little tip for them. Mixed mom, you have beautiful eyes. Oh, thank you. Even how red they are, even after the morning bong rip. Thank you. What's up, Sinbad? Lulu Gumshoe. Rest in peace, indeed. What's up, Sam? Beth says, "How's there ever going to be a fair trial now?" Well, there'll be a fair trial. What goes on in that courtroom, and see that kind of goes to our ego too. Like we're having some kind of effect, and we are when we get leaked crime scene photos and decide to talk about it on YouTube. Right? That's kind of ridiculous. All you had to do was be patient, like 3 or 4 days, right? And all of the details were already in the public eye. But no, you just couldn't help yourself. Full display. Yeah, it has gone next level. And the sad part is we haven't even gotten started with the trial. We have not even gotten started. For all we know, Richard Allen's attorneys could be dismissed, you know? They could be let go. I have a feeling they won't be let go. They're going to ask them to take measures, shorten that group. Yeah, Birdbrain says people seem to forget we are talking about real people with real lives. Yeah, these aren't episodes, right? Abby and Libby were brutally murdered in the middle of the daylight. Everything that happens after that is not episode 2 and episode 3. No, this is one event that we're still talking about. We're going on 7 years, guys. If it has shaken someone like me who has no clue about what goes on in Indiana, no ties to the family, imagine what it's doing to them. And you have the audacity to bring them up and to talk about opening up wounds as if you can close a wound like that. It's just not possible. You don't have the power to do that. None of you do. Either do I. Nobody has that power. And it's funny to see some try to claim that they do. Stand up on their pedestal. Look at you guys. Yeah, you can't have your foot halfway in the door. I don't play that shit. Freckle Joy says, "This is virtue signaling. I have pictures. I have seen them. I'm not going to talk about them. I made a pact, but let me draw you some pictures." That's not really virtue signaling. That's more hypocrisy. Stephanie says, "Justice for Abby and Libby." And I think it is possible. They're going to, everything's going to be done in that courtroom. We're not going to have any kind of effect on it. We might get the attorneys reprimanded, but that's their fault. Because, right, we're the bloodlusters, remember? Why is my phone not charging? Oh, there it goes. Yeah, everything that happens regarding this case stems from the murder of two innocent people. Not just innocent people, we're talking practically babies. They haven't seen anything in this world. They lost everything. It was cut short. Everybody talks about, oh, we're afraid of the end of the world, Armageddon, and look at the wars that are going on. Well, for them, the world is over. The world ended for those two girls. It was the end of the world for them. Picture that. It's the end of the world. So there's no act 2, there's no act 3, That's what happened. Everything else is part of the fallout, the nuclear fallout. Joey, welcome, says, I listened to the Murder Sheet podcast last night and I felt like it was so annoying. The way that they were acting so high and mighty. That's 30 minutes of my life wasted. I didn't finish it. I was excited to get the details. And once I started hearing the virtue signaling and the hypocrisy, blah, I can't take it. And I like the Murder Sheet, but that's what it was. So I agree with that. But to me, it was projecting. They were revealing something that was going on behind the scenes, something that they were guilty about. That's what I was watching. Was guilt on display. Damage control. And I'm not here to cast judgment on anybody. There was a famous experiment called the Stanford Prison Experiment, in which participants playing guards gave massive shocks to participants playing prisoners. Yeah, I remember seeing something on that. I was watching a video, I think recently, on Ghislaine Maxwell because we were covering the John Benet Ramsey case. You know how there's that conspiracy with her in the image? Well, there's a story of her where she's an artist, apparently, right? She was standing in a room full of all these elite type folks, and she was standing there bare naked, and on a table there was on display were all these weapons. You had razor blades, sewing needles, guns, knives, brass knuckles, hammers, any kind of violent weapon up until like little torturous weapons. And she laid them out on the table and she says, I think she even stood there for like 8 hours or something. Like, it was ridiculous. She couldn't move. She was completely in the nude, and her guests were allowed to do anything they want to her. And at first, it started out with a couple pricks of a needle, or they would pinch her, or they would kind of make a little slash with the razor blade. But eventually, it got worse. They started hitting her. One guy had to be talked down because he had the gun to her head. He was ready to kill her. And she said, if you let, I can't remember what the whole moral of that was. I think it was, if you let the audience kill you, they will. Something along those lines. That it's almost human nature of some sort. But in my mind, if you bring a group of people who are hanging around with those dark type of people, with that dark magic and that dark, just that darkness, you're going to find people who will kill you. Chorizo and eggs. Oh, that sounds yummy. Because of my cholesterol, I can't even have coffee anymore. Man, I had some coffee the other day and I made it just a little bit. I made an iced coffee, my almond milk, and still I felt all crazy. I felt like my heart was going to explode. The Delphi case is full of trolls. My wife no longer will comment on or even like a lot of creator shows. She was trolled so bad. Delphi case is known for people thinking they own all the info. Yeah, not only that, it just attracts a lot of these weirdos, right? Like, they'll come to a YouTube channel and they'll be like, "Oh, this guy, what is he, famous?" Like, no, guys. I have like 6,000 subscribers, right? That is nothing. It's no big deal. I'm a guy who, see this right here? It's connected to this thing right here, and I'm just sitting at a computer desk. There's nothing special going on at all. So it's people, and then you say something that they don't agree with, and because they're crazy and they feel powerless, they go and they find ways to hurt you. Well, how can they hurt you? Well, they'll go and they'll dig up your past. They'll, any way they can hurt you anonymously. It's because they're cowards, first off. That's why they're anonymous. And secondly, they're powerless because they're not even looking at things through the right lens. Everything's inflated in their head to begin with. Like I'm telling you, these people are crazy. There's no other way about it. They are completely nuts. Like imagine becoming obsessed with me. Some guy that literally turns on his computer and says, "Hey, we should go live today on this subject that I'm very interested in." And then they become obsessed with me. Like, you guys need to go get help. Stephanie says the amount of people wanting Richard Allen free is disgusting. I don't think that it's disgusting. You're innocent until proven guilty, but to become obsessed with it, like you won't ever hear me say that Richard Allen's a guilty person. I don't think I've ever said that. If you can go back through any of my videos and say it, do I believe he is? Yes. Do I believe he participated in this murder? I do. I really do. I believe he's responsible for the kidnapping and assault, most likely, that took place on that bridge or maybe below of one of the girls. And if it wasn't for what he did, they would still be alive. Now, did he continue and do it all alone? I don't know. I can't see that happening. It's hard for me to see that. And the only reason why is mostly because of the stuff with the clothing and the misinformation about the crime scene. I don't have a clear idea of what happened and why it would happen. If one of the girls was redressed, why would that take place? To me, it's like you would have to be at multiple crime scenes. You would have to be maybe attacked and then left alone for a moment to where you're like, well, I'm going to just redress myself at this point. I mean, none of it it doesn't make any sense, right? And the more and more I think about that part of it, the more and more I think that there may have been other people involved. But it could have been just Richard Allen, of course. He was involved, so he definitely needs to answer for what happened. He has those answers. Right? If he's a guilty man, only the killer would know what really happened, and if they were redressed, why were they redressed? But I think we're going to go over just some really random stuff here today. We will look a little bit at the crime scene, but I'm not going to show you the full conversation, but I think a YouTuber has posted it. It wasn't very good quality, but this is a conversation between Abby and Libby. These are just a couple screenshots. And let me share them with you. And I believe this is off of something to do with like social media that's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. It's not Snapchat. It might be something associated with Apple, maybe. But it looks like you have Libby's conversation on the left and Abby on the right. And during this whole conversation, they make mention of a guy or a person by the name of Ricky. So let's read what Libby says here. Hell no, I can't stand her, to be honest. She rubbed it in my face that she was dating Ricky when she found out I still liked him. And besides, you are one of my best friends. I would pick you always. So now Ricky is most likely a person, a kid her age, right? Going to school. But during another part of the conversation, Abby makes mention of Ricky buying some things. Ask Ricky to buy it. Ask him to purchase it. So if he's just some child, why does he have more money than them? Why would he be the one to purchase it? And I think it's actually this right here, this rhino. She says, hey, I need you to buy me this. Why is she asking her to? Is she getting gifts now from somebody? This person, Ricky? And they mentioned going back to school and talking to him. Well, to me, that seems like, okay, they're talking to a school student, and his name just happens to be Ricky. Well, what if they're talking to him while they're at school? Somehow they're able to meet with him, or he has a friend that lives by nearby the school, or he stops by, or something along those lines. What if it is Ricky Allen? I seriously doubt that, but still, this was only the conversation begins about a month prior to their death. But this part about Ricky and this next one that I'm going to show you is actually just a few weeks before they were killed. So let's take a look at this other screenshot. And this is one of the last parts of the conversation. This is about 2 weeks prior to the murders. And this is Abby. Libby was asking her if she can come over, come stay the night, come hang out. She's go ask your mom, but she has to ask her mom. She said yes, but I got to clean my room first. And I talked to Logan. I'm assuming that's Logan Holder a little, but he had to go because he's grounded. And that number called again and left a message. And I'm going to go listen to it. So be right back. So, in the same breath, she's talking about Logan and some number that called her. Sounds like she's unfamiliar with this number. And remember, guys, this is 2 weeks prior to the murders, right around the time of Anthony shots. So I thought that was interesting. Something I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah, me too. Mike says, I'm really looking forward to hearing what Judge Call has to say. Well, this is kind of like a reflection on her too. It's her job to maintain that court in the proceedings. So this is a failure on her. This is something she has to fix too. She has one job, and it's to make sure that that courtroom stays fair. Shane says certain people, creators, don't want this to ever end. They claim they do, but the void will kill them. I don't know if it's that as much as them being wrong, but maybe both. You know, a lot of people who covered the Flora fires, you can just kind of see it's like they would bring their political stuff into it. Chief, what's up? Just tuning in. Is there any validity to a certain Carroll County sheriff lying about what the Purdue professor said about Odinism that they couldn't remember the professor's name? To me, I read that a little differently. To me, it was investigators saying we're not really into the Odin theory, so we can't really remember the professor's name. It really is not it's not important to us. So if you want that information, you know, you're going to have to go do that on your own. And I think that does happen. Like, go do your own work. And I think you can get away with that sometimes if you've already provided adequate discovery or whatever you have. But you're not going to go ahead and go start a new investigation because they have a new theory, right? If you need that person's name, you go get it. That's how I read it. Beth says, to an honored veteran who has led a clean life, strong integrity, always done the right thing, they can see something like this as their life being over. My friend showed me that a few months ago. Yeah, and when you're suffering from something, we don't know what was going on. I have no clue, really, right? We can't really speak to it. But I do agree with that comment there. You know, a small amount of shame is a lot for somebody who has led a clean lifestyle and really cares about what other people think about them. But that, you know, it may not even have anything to do with why he did what he did. Sela says, PW. Oh, Patrick Westphal had a right of reply. Yeah, I mean, he deserves that chance, right? And he's not. One thing that I'll give him credit for is he's not afraid of other what people think of him. We had a private conversation, and you guys don't know the shit I was saying, right? You don't know what happened. But let's just say that part was not part of the conversation for a reason. And we're not here to badmouth Patrick. We're just here to, if he's going to give information, we're going to listen to it. He has his agenda, we have ours, right? Mine is a YouTube channel, and the point of the YouTube channel is to build it. We want views, we want to cover the news, and we want to talk about things that are important and help when we can. Most importantly, with awareness. But we are a curious bunch, right? So if this person is reaching out to my platform, it's my job, in my opinion, to provide news to you guys. He's newsworthy. We're going to listen to what he has to say. If he wants to appeal to attorneys, hey, we're going to help you do that. You're helping me right now by being a guest. Whether or not we support your opinions or agree with you, we're going to hear everything, right? All sides of the story. So for people to talk about Patrick Westphal and then put shame on me for gathering information that they never had before is it's perplexing to me. And those people, if all of a sudden you're like blocked from my channel and I'm not responding to your emails, it's because I'm watching all of that shit. To me, it's just hatred. It's hater stuff. You are a hater. You only want the information that helps your narrative. But when you go to the source and that kind of um, stomps out a little bit of the fire, they don't like that shit. Good to see you, Jamie. All right. Let me see what else I had. Oh, guess we'll close with this. This isn't going to be a very long live stream.
Walking through.
This is Alexis McAdams, and it's basically the best footage I've seen just a few days after the crime of the actual crime scene.
With Ron Logan today. He's showing us the property. He knows this treacherous terrain better.
So, I mean, they're standing right in the middle of it.
Than anyone. So in order to get down there, like I mentioned, went down a large ravine that was so steep we pretty much had to walk sideways to get down that way. And this is where the girls were found. It's less than.
See, I mean, there's like little sticks everywhere. So you could fall literally anywhere in these woods, and somebody could say, "Oh, well, those sticks are above your head, in the shape of something." It's kind of like the whole pareidolia stuff, right?
And half a mile from the Monon High Bridge, where they were last seen on Monday. Officers still processing evidence that they gathered here. They were out here for hours ever since.
We got beavers. Yeah, I believe this ravine right here leads right to the cemetery.
Be the same.
I want to show you everything, how they could have got here, because you're going to be as confused as I am. How did these two little girls get here from the high bridge with all this rough terrain without somebody making them come here? The high bridge is right across the creek here. It runs all the way down where this creek and the land joins.
Okay, so they're standing at the crime scene, and you can kind of, well, they're not standing on the crime scene. They actually walked around to the edge of it to where you can actually get down. to the water, but you can kind of see the bridge through there. But I guarantee nobody could see that crime scene from the bridge. It's just not possible. Thanks, Celeste. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, critical thinking and looking at things objectively is what we try to do. And it's an uphill battle with all these weirdos and egotistical maniacs the entire time. But it's part of the goes with the terrain, I guess. CJ says, I don't think it was wrong to bring Patrick Westfall on because of what's going on. He wants to speak out. Let him. Yeah, he had something to say. Let's hear him out. I mean, time and time again, we read the memorandum, and time again, we showed that they weren't being truthful. Either they weren't doing their homework or they were just blatantly lying. And somewhere in there is the truth. The more information we have, I think the easier it'll be for us to find what that is and where it is. Dora says drama excites some people to the extreme. Yeah. And I have to admit it, sometimes it gets me too. Like I'm watching too, like, ooh, it's so much drama, you know? But I'm not looking at it going, oh man, this is really interesting. Or man, I can't believe this is so much insight. You know, I never expected this to take such a turn, but it's more like, oh, look, drama. Like slow down at a car accident, right? What's up, 11? Welcome. Good to see you. Julia, welcome. Says, is it confirmed the photos were leaked by the defense? Well, what it appears like is an old employee of Baldwin, which is part of Richard Allen's defense team, had access to the documents, and that's where the leak started from. Now the rest is all damage control. What's up, Don? Good to see you. Hey, the Rockaways. Removing his attorneys would be an extreme step. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And also cost Indiana a ton of money and start over with new lawyers. Yeah. And also, I think if Richard Allen's defense team gets reprimanded by Gull, they're going to stop with this. I'm telling you guys, Richard Allen is probably on the verge of a full confession. Now, if he comes out and confesses, it's over for Rosie and Baldwin. No more free publicity. You know, to them, they were probably like, "Oh man, I really don't want to be part of this case." Well, how do we look at this on the bright side? Glass half full. Well, we're going to get a shit ton of exposure. Okay, well, how do we milk that? Richard Allen's like, "Well, I want to confess." Richard, you don't want to do that. Just trust me, okay? We're going to get you out of this. Just hang back over there, go eat some paper, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on a show here for Indiana. We're going to go ahead and get the cameras in here. We're going to leak these documents. You know, we're going to make it a real circus. Because bad publicity is good publicity, right? All that matters is that name is said. Rosie Baldwin. Rosie Baldwin. Because when shit hits the fan in your own life, the only thing you're going to remember is, I need a lawyer. You're going to start going through that little Rolodex, right? And guess what names are going to pop up? Lisa says, I had to step away from the case due to health this summer. Sorry to hear that. I hope you're feeling better. Let's be nice. There is no cost for anything else, and the girls wouldn't want that. Prayers for his family. So I don't know if there's anything else on here. So Ron Logan was saying right here where the matted ground is, and you can kind of see some sticks laying around. I wonder if these are the sticks that they came back to get. And also, this kind of looks like the tree here that was in the photo of the F tree. See how it's kind of bent? The ground is disturbed right here too. Frank says 55 likes and 188 in chat. Yeah, if you guys could get those likes up. I'm showing 256 watching. Don't be a scrub. Devoted says, when is the murder sheet not annoying? Usually when they're interviewing people that are hard to interview, they don't annoy me. Thank you, Purdue. Yeah, Anna Lissette says it was not only the end of the world for Abby and Libby, but the end of their futures. No children, grandchildren, etc. And Abby's mom lost everything, her only child. Yeah, so to hear people talk about open wounds, that is the wound there. It's not going to close. There's no closing that wound. And somehow you, as a podcaster or YouTube channel, have control over the family's wounds. You know, we're going to go and take a moral stand this time, you know, when it serves us. I just don't know if these people realize like how much it's on display, like how obvious it is. Jody. Had who's BH? Is that Brad Holder? I don't know. I always watch him. Saska, what's up? I've never watched the Murder Sheet episode, but do you think there was pressure or even blackmail on the man who ended his life? I don't know. There's something definitely going on. Um, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what he could be going through. He could have maybe some kind of warped perception at the time of the world. I really don't know. But it's a very curious situation. I mean, you got the leaking, and then right at the time that they were tracking down the source of the leak, this happens. And you have people coming out verifying that they got their crime scene photos from this person, regardless of the story they try to attach it to, right? They don't want any backlash. That's what that is. It's damage control. It's guilty fingers in the camera, right? You know, chocolate all over and the lid off the cookie jar. You know, while you're looking at the chocolatey fingers, somebody's over here putting the lid back over the top. I just hope they know how obvious it is. All right, guys. Well, I didn't have a whole lot. I just wanted to catch up with everybody on this Sunday. I didn't go live yesterday. A lot I wanted to talk about, but some other things came up. But we will be as scheduled for True Crime in the Morning. And I'm still working with talking to Patrick Westfall. He looks like he might be interested in doing a follow-up and coming on camera. So I haven't talked with him a whole lot this weekend, But I'll see what's going on Monday, and I'll let you know. It'll be Monday or Tuesday. Not sure. We'll shoot for Monday, but ultimately, it's up to him. What's going on with you, Purdue? Freckles says, on some level, we all knew these pictures were going to get out. So I can't say I'm upset about it. The behavior around it is someone actually dying has just a gross feeling to it. Yeah. It kind of goes back to the whole cause and effect, right? Actions have repercussions. Saska says, hubby's on high blood pressure tablets. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I'm on high cholesterol medicine. Oh, sorry, return the diamonds. 17-month flex. Sorry, guys, I've been neglecting the chat. Thanks for all you do and giving a platform for people to have an opinion. Justice will prevail in due time. Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you, Diamonds. And we are sponsored today, guys, by my guy, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. What the heck is going on? Getting ready to take the family shopping, but I figured I'd throw something in the tip jar. Well, I appreciate that. This is a crowd-funded channel. The members are the heartbeat of my channel. Donations and things like that, they make it possible. Jamie Hicks, Frank, have you hit 1,000 subs yet? Yep, a couple days back. And it's still stacking. Frank is a good source of information. He stays busy. Sky Blue for you. Welcome. Hello. Hey, David. You do good. Informative and open-minded show. Thank you, David. It's good to see you, by the way. Devota says he's innocent until proven guilty, but to want him out. Okay. We can talk about that. You're right. To say he's innocent, it's one thing to say he's not guilty, but to say he's innocent, okay, you're right about that. There is a difference. And when these people come out and say he's innocent, you got to remember, I told you guys, anytime you hear somebody saying that Richard Allen is innocent, I want you to look at the people that they've accused prior to that. Anybody that's saying Richard Allen is innocent, it's because they've accused Ron Logan, they've accused DP, or they've accused Kelsey and Libby or Abby's family. And not that they've just said, hey, well, maybe, or we should talk about this, or what if. No, it's like 100% they're in on it, right? They're faking videos, they're faking photos, and they're painting their walls to hide blood, and there's a shack, and there's this, right? They've gone in 100% on that. Okay, when they find out that that's fake, of course Richard Allen is innocent, right? Because if he's innocent, that puts their theories back into play. But while Richard Allen's in prison facing these charges, that takes every bullshit theory that they had right off the table. Their ego cannot take it, guys. And I'm pointing these things out for you in case you missed it. Thank you, Danielle. Even though they're bloodshot. Anna says, maybe Ricky had a bigger allowance than other kids. Yeah, it's possible. It's just interesting to see that name, Ricky, in a conversation between Abby and Libby just weeks prior to their murder. That doesn't mean it means anything. But you can't just say, oh, it's just some kid at school because they're meeting him at school. This could be Ricky, right? And the only reason I say that is because I can't get over the fact that I feel like the girls were lured there. Like there's some kind of a relationship between one of the victims and Richard Allen that we just don't know about, that we haven't seen yet, that maybe nobody other than Abby and Libby knew about. Could be the reason they're both dead. I just feel like they were lured to this location for whatever reason. Motivated. The killing was motivated. Chorizo says so sus could be a grown ass man named Richard Allen. Exactly. Richard Allen had a best friend who was arrested at a home that was attached to Abby and Libby's school in October of 2016 for an underage party, providing alcohol to underage kids, and was also pulled over, fleeing the scene, and arrested for assaulting a police officer. So you have Richard Allen's best friend facing those charges. The end of October, right? And the backyard of that home is attached to Libby's school. So when she's saying, "Hey, I'm going to school. I'll talk to Ricky when I get to school," is she talking to a kid named Ricky, or is she talking to somebody named Ricky who happens to have access to her school? All right, guys, that's going to do it for my time here. I made this little disclaimer for the people who can't quite figure it out on their own or just choose not to. Sinbad, yeah, he was a disabled vet. Or a vet, for sure. An Iraqi war hero. Yeah, I agree with that, Janie Lane. Janie Lane is talking to Sky saying, please be very careful who you share your information with. Some really cruel people out. Yes, they will hurt you. Even just for disagreeing, they will hurt you. Including me, CJ, including me. So I'm saying I'm nothing special. I'm just a curious person who wants to help create a platform that I always wished was around, when I was interested in things. I didn't like my ideas being shut down. Didn't like not being listened to. I remember one time I seen is it David Erskine? He was in a Facebook group and he was answering all these questions. And he said, "Oh, well, I'm not going to answer that question because of this." And they blocked him. It's because they don't want answers. They don't want information. They want to play YouTube and they want to, I want to play YouTube too, but I want to do it with some substance. I want to have something there for you guys. And if I can't provide anything, I want to create a platform that allows you to share something if you happen to have something. You need to share all this information. Eleven says how anyone can look at that man, Ron Logan, and think he is BG is just beyond me. I don't know. It's really hard to say who that is. To me, when I look at it, sometimes I see Richard Allen, but I definitely don't see Ron Logan. What's going on, Sky? What are you talking about? What is that? They cut your hair off? Sorry to hear that. The Rockaway says the sticks would be on the ground and not on top of you, though. Well, the truth is, I've talked to multiple people who have seen these crime scene photos, gotten detailed descriptions of what was there, and there were no sticks placed above the head. There were sticks on the ground, but it wasn't like they were placed on top of her hair or whatever. People are going to give you a watered down description of what they've seen with those crime scene photos because they know you haven't seen them and they have an agenda. They are so bent set on proving themselves right that they're going to skew the truth, just like the defense did in the memorandum. Are we casting judgment on them for that? No. I just want you guys to be able to see it. That's all. They can do whatever they want, right? Lead with Love says, I was a little too adventurous at age 14 and had so many secrets. Somehow lived till 66. Yeah, when I was 14, I had 13 felonies. That's when my crime spree stopped. I was a runaway, Grand Theft Auto. I was a criminal. I drove to school in stolen cars, parked in the teacher's parking lot when I was in 7th grade. So I was not a good kid. Seen a lot of my friends pass away. But that's it. I was a kid. I didn't know any better. And I hid it from my parents. And then football. Football, if you have a troubled kid, get him in sports. Saved my life. Anna says most people out hiking, if they see shells, spent or unspent, they pick them up. They are shiny and interesting. Lots of ways that 40 caliber shells could have gotten out there where it was. Yeah, but it being tied back to his weapon. But that is true. Every time I see a spent shell casing, I always pick it up, dust it off, and read the back. I can't help myself. And I always say something stupid like, "Oh, 9mm, huh? 9mm Smith and Wesson." All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I'll check with you guys again in the morning. We're going to be covering the Kyron Horman case. So if you guys are interested in that case, check in with us here on the Sleuth Intuition channel, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're going to dive into that case. And then if we do a follow-up with Patrick Westfall, I'll let you guys know. It's in the works. Wanda, good luck with your surgery. Prayers. Brad, thanks for hanging out. Nice chat this morning on the Discord. Thank you for that. Thank you, 11. Glad you can make it as well. Hey, Lillian. It's funny, Lillian. When you start looking into the sheriff, you're getting somewhere. Okay. Do you have any follow-up on that? Or just look into him and you're sure something's there? All right, guys, I'm out of here. If you could hit the like button on the way out, it helps my channel. It's the easiest way to support my channel if you can. Consider donating to the Cash App, becoming a member. There's plenty of ways if you want to support the channel, but the best and easiest way is hitting that like button, subscribing, sharing the videos. But I'll be getting with you guys again Monday morning for True Crime in the Morning, Kyron Horman. I'll see you then. Peace out.